Well, it was an international start to this show today.
Yeah,
We, in Canada, we went to daylight savings time or the opposite, I'm not sure what.
yeah,
And South Africa stayed on the same time zone.
yeah.
So it was, and thank you for getting together so fast and on.
Yeah, it literally took me 1 minute. So I was like, okay, that's it. Let's go.
Well, we made it.
Yeah.
And we've got a really interesting show today. I can't wait for the conversation that's going to happen. Welcome, everyone. Hello, Sandra, Arlene, Joanne. It's wonderful to have you. And we're going to jump right in.
Yeah.
Just getting my notes up today. So, hello, everyone, and welcome to Fabulous Friday TV. TGIF, thank God it's Friday, but also thank God I'm fabulous. Women from all over the world are coming together, and Fabulous Friday TV is about celebrating fabulous, living fabulous, being fabulous, feeling fabulous, and when we need some help, finding others to lift us up into that fabulous feeling. So I'm Sherry Kallergis in Vancouver, British Columbia, and I'm editor of At 45, the magazine for women when life changes. And I'm co-founder of Fabulous University, a beautiful platform for women to take courses wherever they are in life.
And I'm Anne Marot, who got on just in time. Lucky I had my happy face on. And I am the founder of Women Connect, women empowerment platform, membership platform, and co-founder of Fabulous University alongside Sherry. And I'm very happy to be here and see all of you here today. Thank you for coming. I think that we have to just let our South African speakers know, Sherry, because I think they're all still thinking they have 1 hour to go. Yeah.
Yes.
So you carry on, and I'll just quickly do that.
Okay, that sounds great. So thanks, Anne. So just a little housekeeping. The show is often broadcast live on either our Facebook or YouTube channels as well. It's posted, the whole show is posted on YouTube on the Tuesday after. So if you don't want your image shown, please shut off your video on the bottom left-hand side of your screen. And we don't want it to get in the way of sharing, but just to remember if there's personal information that you're sharing, you want to sort of edit it in your mind. So, the prize from last week, I am so sad to say that no one won it. You'll remember we were giving away this beautiful plaque, When Life Gives You Lemons, Make Something Sweet. And what you had to do to win that was to go on our Facebook page and write one thing that you loved about the show and invite 5 women to attend the show the next week. So we're offering it up again. When life gives you lemons, make something sweet. So go on our Facebook page, tell the world why you love Fabulous Friday TV, and tag 5 friends to join us next week. So that'll be exciting. Today we're talking about our environments and, in particular, where we live. And uh, we need to embrace the benefits of our life placement, whether it's city, country, urban or rural, house or apartment. And today we've invited women to share, and what they're going to be sharing is describing where they live, why they like living there, how it affects their life, and what is a favorite activity that they love doing there. And each person's going to take about 3 minutes to share. So, why are we talking about this? Why is it important to focus on where you live? Well, where you live can have a huge impact on your happiness, but loving where you live contributes to the health and well-being of yourself. And I often think like where you live is a special place where all your being and your focus is living. And so it's so important that we love where we live, and that we are embracing everything fabulous about it. So perhaps you're a city girl, living in a village, or maybe you're a water loving girl and you live in the landlocked prairies. Or maybe you've recently moved and are struggling to adapt, and all you can think about is where you just left and what you miss about that place. So, a surprising statistic is that a person moves an average of 12 times in their life. Now, I can say that that is true for me because all through my childhood we moved. I think the longest I ever lived in one place was 7 years growing up and into my adulthood. Recently, I landed in Vancouver like 20 years ago, and I've lived here ever since. But before that, I moved an awful lot. So when uh, some of the key times that people move are when you start your career, when your kids start school if you have a family, and when you retire. So those are key times where you're usually changing up where you live. And so there are some fun ways to open your eyes to the fabulous place you live, and find things about it that help you love it and be happy where you are. So I'm just going to share a few of those today. One is to find a local historian or a library and research the history of where you live. Now, that has actually been an amazing thing. We had a contributor on the magazine who lived in a city, and she went around and photographed all the old buildings and old houses that she found on her walks. And as time went by, it was just amazing some of the information and connections she was able to make through all the history. Be a foodie, so many of us are. So explore the food offerings and the possibilities in your area. And it doesn't matter where you live. There is usually some key grouping of people that have an amazing flavor that they've brought to your area. So whether that's, saying you're going to have a get together of all your neighbors and bring different foods that you love. It's a little hard in COVID right now, but well, soon that's going to be behind us and we'll be able to get together with people. Or it's like exploring every coffee shop that's in, a 20-mile radius. So that's another way of finding the place you love. Another thing is to adapt a new sport, exercise, or activity that your area brings. For example, a friend of mine recently moved to a Whistler, which is a ski area, and is trying snowboarding. So that's something that she wouldn't have done where she lived before. And hey, why not? Another woman that I'm friendly with lives in the prairies, and she started doing a winter walk and walking through different roads and fields. So there's always possibilities, and that's what's important about what we're talking about today. Explore the possibilities of where you love and fall in, or where you live, and fall in love with where you live. So there's a great book that I've read, and it's called "This Is Where You Belong: The Art and Science of Loving the Place You Live," and it's by a woman called Melody Warnick. You can get it on audiobook or paperback through Amazon, and I highly recommend, if you're struggling with where you live, or you're having difficulty finding something to love about it, you'll want to read that book. So I'm just going to take a minute and share about where I live. So as you know, I live in a big city, Vancouver in Canada. We're on the West Coast. Now, I grew up in the prairies, and I have to say, I am a water child. Water is just my Zen place. And so what I love about Vancouver is you can go to the beach anytime and sit with coffee and enjoy the sound of the water and the look of the water. It's just amazing how things, a gray day, the water looks one way, and on a sunny day, the water looks another way. And every moment, the look of the water changes. So that's what I love about Vancouver. And are you on yet? No? Okay. So today we're announcing a fabulous Easter scavenger hunt. And no, we're not looking for eggs. The prize is a beautiful leather bracelet from Ronit Zeiswaller Jewelry Design in Switzerland. Now, Ronit creates unique, one-of-a-kind pieces. She is a native of Israel and a resident of Switzerland. And throughout her life, Ronit has lived in no less than 11 different countries. Can you believe that? So appropriate that we're talking about that today. The places she lived includes Nigeria, Africa, Belgium, Switzerland, Canada, and the United States. And her jewelry incorporates bold colors and shapes that are influenced by the countries and cultures that she's lived in. Ronit believes a woman who is classical, energetic, and does not flinch when people turn their heads when she enters a room is a woman who represents something unique to herself. And her jewelry helps make her appearance truly memorable and powerful. So now, how do you win it? Well, every day from today until Wednesday, March 31st, there's going to be a post on our Facebook page at 8 a.m. Vancouver time or West Coast time with a clue. And when you solve the clue, you're going to post a picture of the answer in the comment section below that post. And all those who have solved the clues, if there's only one who solved all the clues and done all the posts, that will be declared the winner. Otherwise, everyone that has done the task will be entered in a draw, and we'll pick one of those to win this beautiful leather bracelet. So the winner needs to attend the show. That's important to know. But you can start anytime. All you have to do is go look at the Facebook clues, and the first one is already posted this morning. And post your comment in each thread, and then have some fun with it. Anne and I had such fun getting the quotes all together. So looking forward to that. How are you doing, Anne?
Yeah, is Ronit not on yet? Is she coming on the show today?
She was trying to. I know that she was just on her way back from visiting the country. She had spent a few days actually getting off the grid, so I'm not quite sure if she got back yet. So yes, I'm not sure.
Okay, I was just thinking someone else was 1 hour behind, so like me.
Oh, hmm.
All right.
Yeah,
So
I'm not sure what the time zone is like there.
we forgot to think about. Okay, so I think that, I mean, that's quite exciting. Yes, we did have lots of fun putting those little clues together, and we'll soon have a picture of the beautiful sponsored jewelry that Ronald Wood is giving us for this little game of ours, or competition, if you call it. Um, so I think I'll just talk about where I stay, and I'd love to start with telling you the story about the very first time that I went to America, and that was in 2004, which is, like 17 years ago. I started going like every year, once a year, to America. And in 2004, things were a little bit different to the way they are today. But I remember going to stay with a very good friend of mine who stayed in Palm Beach. And of course, it was a very upmarket, very expensive. They were millionaires, so they were like really very rich. And one would have thought that their thinking would have been different, but I remember they we they seemed to that all everyone finished at 2 p.m. in the afternoon, finished work, and then by 4 p.m. we would be on their boats, and we would be in the water, having fun and everything. And we'd go down to a place where there was a high sandbank, and people were playing volleyball in the water, and it was just like, it was almost like a life that was in the movies. And I remember being on this beautiful boat, and someone asking me about where I was from, and I said, oh, I was from South Africa. And the first thing they asked me was, do you have lions walking in the street? And I was like, I was, yeah, we do. We do. And they were all like glued to the story, because in those times, I don't know how much a lot of people didn't know about South Africa. And they really honestly thought that because we were classified as a third world country, that we had wild animals, walking around, and that's how we lived. Okay. For them, there was no establishment or place that was like, we were living in the bush type of thing. So it was quite entertaining. But today, obviously, the people I meet know more and more about South Africa. Now, I'm just going to share my screen with you and show you where I am, so that you can have a look. And then I want to tell you. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Can you see my screen, everyone?
Right. Yes, we can.
Okay. So this is South Africa. One of my very good friends, she was supposed to be on tonight, but we're still on the normal time where you guys are 1 hour gone, 1 hour earlier. So 8 a.m. for you used to be 6 p.m. for us, but now it's 5 p.m. So she doesn't even know we're on. But she lives down here in a place called Cape Town. And in Cape Town, it's the most beautiful cosmopolitan town of South Africa. And I live all the way up here where it says Johannesburg. And this whole, we don't have states, we have provinces. So this whole area is called Gauteng. It's a northern province. So I don't live in Johannesburg as such. I live in a little, in a suburb, and the suburb has its own like little town. So let me just show you. So here we go. Here's a picture of what our town looks like. This is called Sandton. And so we've got, we look a lot like New York, with very big high rises and a lot of glass buildings, and it's really it's a city. Okay, not Johannesburg as such, but this is the closest city to where I am. And then we have the malls are like you have your malls, that they're massive and they have many shops, and I stay very close to these malls, where you can see it's just amazing. It's huge, so I wanted you to see that's what it was about. And then we've got this is the suburb that I live in. So I live in, you can see there's a lot of houses, and some of the houses are in clusters, so these are what the houses look like. Not all of them look exactly the same, but the houses are very big, and a lot of our homes in South Africa have swimming pools. Even if you're not wealthy, you can afford a swimming pool. So life is really great, and the area that I stay in is really great. But what I want to share with you now is that this is why I told you the story right from the beginning about people thinking that there were animals walking in the street. I have these two videos here. I have a friend who lives on an eco estate, and that it's about 2.5, 3 hours from where I am. And here's one of the videos, and I go there and stay at his house quite a lot. And I've known him for 23 years. He's my best friend. So here is one of the videos where the animals are actually in his garden. Okay, so can you see that video?
Yes, we can.
Right. So, I hope I've got my original sound on. Let me just tell me if you can hear the sound good. But I want you to have a look at this. This is in his garden. This is me standing at the window, and in his garden are zebras and giraffe, and all the animals that aren't. They all herbivores, so they all eat. They're not wild like lions and stuff, but they all eat grass and plants. Roam freely on this estate. So here's the video. It's just a minute, but just have a look.
They're drinking out of the water. How cool is that? A zebra in the garden. Is he sneaking up on them?
Can I just say, wow.
It's just amazing.
Yeah. So I just sneaked up on them in the garden because they'd moved away. And so I wanted to get close, but you can see, you can get really close to them. This part here is the driveway, with the driveway of where you drive into the house. So we really do have opportunities where we see these animals in the gardens. Of course, not everyone's as lucky to live in a place like this. I don't have that in my garden because I live more near the city, but he's got this in his garden, and it does really happen,
So you know what I'm so surprised about, Anne? It's the fact that it's so lush and green. For some reason, I thought it was sort of deserty.
Yeah. That's the thing, and this one's also, I think this one is with giraffe as well. It's a little bit smaller, but we'll just have a quick look. So here I am walking now through the estate, and you can see how close the animals are. That's not even on a zoom, The giraffe are there, the zebras are around, and I'm just walking, having my morning walk, and we're just walking past them.
Amazing.
I've got this one in front of me.
Look, he's standing in the road in front of me.
Aren't you scared? How majestic.
Yeah,
Wow.
they are beautiful. And of course, I have a lot more of these videos because you know, obviously I love going there, and that the animals are, because it's with the homes are there, and there are no fences except over the full ground area, so they don't wander into the road, but they roam freely there, and they get so used to humans being close up to them, because it's all people. They aren't going to harm them because they live in, that's their habitat. We just have a house there, you know. And so I just wanted to share that with you, because yes, originally, you know, people did think that there were animals roaming around the streets in South Africa, but in fact, you know, you do have those opportunities where you can have the giraffes in your garden, the zebra drinking water from your swimming pool even. So yes, I wanted to share that with you. So that's
Well, thank you so much. It's so exotic.
okay.
So now we have some women joining us from the audience who are going to be sharing where they live and what they love about where they live. Probably not with the pictures that Anne has brought us, but with their words. So the first is Gina De Palma. Gina, is your mic unmuted?
Yes, I just unmuted it now.
Oh,
so
welcome.
Thank you. I like Sherry live in Vancouver, but I live in East Vancouver in a little area called Little Italy. I grew up in this area, then I moved away to Toronto when I first got married, and then moved back to Vancouver, not too far from where I am now, then moved out to the suburbs because of the schooling there. My son was very bright and I wanted him in a French immersion school. So at the time we didn't have French immersion schools in the city proper of Vancouver. But when it came time after I got divorced and the kids were grown up and they'd moved away, I really had a craving to move back to Vancouver. And so I started looking, but the hardest thing was I went from a 3,000 square foot home to a 640 square foot apartment. And I did that by ways of buying and selling downward in increments. But now that I live back in East Vancouver, I'm very happy here. The apartment building I live in is very diverse. We have very progressive men and women that live in the building. And pre-COVID, we all got together regularly. I'm one of the lucky ones in Vancouver to have my outdoor space is almost as large as my apartment, which for 640 square feet is very small, but you get used to it. And now I couldn't think of living in a larger spot. What I love about Little Italy is there's a really strong feeling of community. A lot of the people that own shops here still own shops, and they owned them since I was a kid. Pardon me. Pardon me. And I still get to see the same people that I saw as a kid and still reconnect with them. And I've made a lot of new friends here. So I basically shop in my area, so everything is local. The clothing I get, a lot of the clothing I get is all local as well, and I support local jewelry stores and all our local restaurants, which we have a multitude of. And the big thing about East Vancouver is there's probably 3 coffee shops on each block, and they're always full. And even through COVID, they've actually put sitting areas outside in part of the road that's blocked off so people can still have their coffee and distance with their masks on and off as they drink coffee. So it's kind of funny, but it's kind of neat. The corridor I picked was very specific because I wanted to be able to get up and go. I do drive, but I also use a wheelchair, so I've got a physical handicap. And so where I am, there are 4 major corridors, but where I'm actually living, it's 2 blocks away from everything, but it's a really strong community. And now that we have COVID, we've been doing this thing where we meet in our garage and we bring our chairs or whatever, and everyone brings their drink and their snack, and we sit down in the parkade, or once the weather is better, we'll go back to sitting in the park and visiting with each other. So it's kind of neat. The age group in this area is from newborn to over 100 years old. I have friends in the area that are 101. And still active, still lively, still going out for dinner, still meeting up with friends. And I just love the strong community here. And the bonus for me is my son moved into the building I'm in, and my daughter just moved 2 blocks away. So I just love it. I never, even through COVID, I never want for companionship, because because even when it's really bad out, we could always have one person outside and one person inside and have the door open, So it's been quite nice. And I've made a lot of friends or new friends in the area and reconnected with old friends. So it's been nice. I've moved back into this area in 2011. I don't think, I always keep telling people that they'll take me out in a body bag. I'm never moving again. This is my 10th move.
Well, so you were close to the 12 that we were talking about.
When you mentioned that, I started counting it out, and I divorced 20 years ago. And after my divorce, I moved 6 times.
Well, your story is inspirational, Gina, because, going from a large house down to a smaller apartment, many people, when they're anticipating that, think that it's something that they won't be able to manage. And so often I hear from women who, have downsized. What a blessing it is to have, the smaller area to clean. There's just so many good things about it, and you've truly embraced it.
I've built in as many things that I can build in, so I don't have to move furniture to clean it.
Well, thanks so much for sharing your story. And next up, we have Julianne.
Yes, Julianne is here. The mic is on.
Jump in, Julie.
There we go. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning from Mexico. I'm sorry, I'm in the dark a little bit, but I'm outside. Here's my fiance sticking his head into the camera there.
Photobombing. Hi.
Yeah, I'm outside, and we don't have the sun until the afternoon here right now, so it's a little bit dark on the balcony because we're in the shade.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah, you typically think Mexico is all hot and sunshine.
Actually, where we are, we're out in Miss Maloya, which is south of Puerto Vallarta. And it's very, very different because we're in the jungle. And so we have the backdrop of the mountains behind us, and I'm right on the ocean, and so we've actually got the cooling breeze, and the temperature of the water is cools the air temperature as well. So which is lovely in the summer, because in the summer it's so hot. But here, it's winter just like you. And so even though it's, an average of 25 or 26 in the daytime, in the morning without the sun, it can be quite cool. So it's, it's kind of interesting. As I say, I rather like it, especially in the summer, because, you can't get away from the heat in the summer. But I do enjoy my sunshine. And so in the afternoon, I'm usually on the balcony. But I'll just move the camera around a little bit. Let me just see if I can get up and give you a feel. Because there's a little bit of sunshine on the other side. So if I just hold up my camera, if you can see. Can you see that?
Oh, yes. Oh, it's marvelous.
So
Yes.
there's quite a lot of jungle here, and you can see all the mountains in the background. And so you can just see the sun is just about hitting the rocks there. And I've got cords everywhere here, so I'm just going to be careful how that I don't knock things over as I show you. So and right in the distance there, you can see Puerto Vallarta. So those tall buildings that you're seeing, can you see that okay?
Yes, just down a little bit.
Down a little bit
There.
like that?
Yeah, beautiful.
Okay. Yeah, so those buildings right in the distance there is Puerto Vallarta. And if you kind of look at the whole bay, right at the end there is Punta Mita. And then you've got the ocean, the Pacific Ocean. And then on this side is Yelapa. So this side of the bay is Yelapa. So we basically got the view of the whole bay, but it's quite different from Vallarta because we're very, very much in the jungle. So it's and we've got the mountains as well. So it's a very different. It's quite different from Vallarta. people recognize and appreciate Vallarta, but this is kind of being a lot more in nature. And before I moved here, I was living in North Vancouver, so I had the mountains, and I love to go hiking, and so this suits me a lot more than like living in the city or living in the downtown. I much prefer to kind of be in the jungle and nature, and we have parakeets flying past because I'm a little quite high up where I am. So we actually have parakeets flying right at eye level across the balcony, and we have there's quite a lot of tropical birds around here. So it's it's very beautiful. It's a nice place to be creative. I sit here in the afternoon outside listening to the ocean, and when the sun comes around, and reviewing manuscripts and chapters. So it's a very, very peaceful, creative place to write and to review writing.
Oh, it looks marvelous. And did you have any trouble when you first moved there to adapting, or what did you do to sort of get to know your new place?
Well, I ended up moving here full time because I have my new love, Azuka, and of course he's Mexican, and so socializing, with his family, it's been a challenge, speaking Spanish because I've been learning for 2 years. I have lessons twice a week for 2 years. I'm really, really motivated to learn Spanish, but I'm really, really struggling with it. So my teacher is trying all different methods with me because I am dyslexic. So learning a language is very difficult for a dyslexic person. So I don't need that hat. Thank you, darling. He's trying to put a different hat on me. So that's my biggest challenge, I think, Sherry, is I'm frustrated that I can't communicate with his friends and family as much as I would like to. And because I am, living in a sort of more of a true, authentic Mexican environment, I'm not here as a tourist. I'm here living in Mexico. And so sometimes that can be, it can feel a little bit frustrating because, you know, when I go into town, I want to buy a hat, for example, you know, I have to send him to go buy the hat, because if I go to buy the hat, I'm going to get charged 3 times as much than when I than when I try to go buy the hat. And there's a sort of like overall there's this overall feeling that you know, we have an endless supply of money, you know, like it's because, you know, the credit card keeps coming out all the time, and it's like the concept of credit doesn't appear to be something that is within the, I don't know, they don't live on credit, right? They live like we all live on credit, and we are used to living on credit. That's not how they live. They live paycheck to paycheck. And so like the concept of like having this endless supply of money, because if this card doesn't work, you can use this card, and if that card doesn't work, you can use this card, right? Like that to them is perceived as an endless supply of money, which I suppose you could say, yes, it is. You can see why it's perceived that way, as an endless supply of money. Of course, eventually all of those limits are to the point where none of your cards work, but even then there's always ways like to find money. So I never feel like I'm, you know, and I never feel like I worry about money, but I definitely living on credit cards, right? And it's and I feel like that concept can be difficult to for his friends and family, because I end up supporting his family very much so. You know, in Mexico City, his mom is 85 years old and she has no pension. The government doesn't support her, so the children are the only, you know, sending her money. It's the only way that they get money. And so I send money every month to his mom. And then his sister's been really out of, you know, she's really struggled because of COVID. She lost her job, and then her husband lost his job. And she's even like been an entrepreneur, and she's making face masks. So, you know, she's making face masks out of, you know, material. And then she goes to the local market for 12 hours a day to make ends meet by selling face masks, right? So, I mean, they're doing what they can to make ends meet, but it's difficult. So, you know, I do what I can to help and support the family as well. So it can be, you know, it's a different environment. It's a very different environment, very different mindset. And but I would say the biggest thing for me that I just absolutely love is that sense of family. Here, family is number one. Like there's absolutely no exception to that in any situation whatsoever. So you would never ever find somebody compromising even their job, you know, for family. In fact, I had what was probably COVID before COVID was a thing, and I was quite ill for 3 weeks. That was like last February, not last February, you know, when just before it was announced anyway. And Azuka lost his job over it because he said, no, I can't come into work today. I need to look after my wife. And you know, within 2 days they said, well, if you don't come back to work, then we don't want you back. And he's like, well, fine, I'm not coming back then. So, and it was just like, you know, that's their overall mindset is family is absolutely number one. There's no exception to that rule ever in any circumstances whatsoever. So they always take priority, and which is lovely. I mean, it's really lovely to see. That's certainly not my experience. I'm English, right? I was raised you know, where children shouldn't be, you know, shouldn't be heard, and you know, should be seen but not heard. So it's a very different way here than the English way that I was definitely raised.
Well, I think you raised some important points, Julie. Number one, you know, changing cultures, and a lot of people do that, and it is a very serious undertaking. Like you mentioned, there are a lot of things to consider, but the benefits of learning a new culture and a new way of life, and embracing that can be so rewarding, as you've seen. And um, every culture has some things that make it unique and special. So definitely family is one. From Mexico, you hear it all the time. So I know I'm anticipating sort of moving half the year to Greece, and I don't speak the language, and so I've done the same thing. I've been trying to learn, but learning new languages as you age, or if you have maybe a learning disability, can be a challenging thing. But don't let it stand in your way, is what I'm hearing, and that's.
Yes.
That's inspiring share.
Absolutely.
So thank you so
Yeah.
much for sharing that.
And
You're welcome. Yes.
Yeah, I just want to say, Julianne, that I know what you're going through, because in 1987 I moved from South Africa to a little island that doesn't sometimes even feature on the maps, called Mauritius, and I stayed there for 8 years, and I never spoke a word of French, because it's a French island. Everything is in French. Many years ago, it was taken over from the British, funny enough, and everything was French. And also very, very family orientated. What I did was I got the name of everything in the house, wrote it on a piece of paper in French, stuck it on, so every day I would see. That's called, ça c'est un placard, and covered in English, placard in French, so that's how I learned, one word at a time.
My vocabulary is definitely improving, so I'm able to understand a lot more, but the grammar is extremely difficult for Spanish, very difficult, and so learning that aspect of it means that it's I can say if I wanted to say, oh, I was sitting on the balcony in the sun talking to my friends on Zoom, I would say something like, balcony sun talking friends. Like that's as much as I could. I'd know those words, but I wouldn't be able to put it into a sentence.
Well, keep at it. Don't get discouraged, Julie.
Thanks a lot, Sherry.
So next up we have Terry.
Terry is not on, Sherry.
Terry is not on. Oh, that's too bad. I was looking forward to hearing that. So we have time for one more sharing. Is there someone on the floor who would like to share where they live? Just unmute, and you have about 4 minutes.
Yeah, okay. I had offered to talk this morning, but I don't know if you're on the list. I had offered, yeah.
Go ahead, Sandra.
Are you sure? Because I'm another Vancouver. Somebody else wants to share a different city. Okay, I'll be quick. Yeah, sure. So I'm also in East Vancouver. And I love Vancouver. I've lived here all my life. When I travel, I always like to come back to Vancouver. When I married at age 28, I moved 2 miles to my husband's home. So I haven't really, ventured very far. I went from the west side to the east side. And I just wanted to note also to Julianne that my cousin has a drug and alcohol treatment center in Puerto Vallarta. So that's my connection down there. So, I love the food. I love the Asian food, the culture here, the restaurants, the people, the atmosphere, the nature, the walking areas. You can cycle everywhere. You're close to Vancouver Island, a lot of touristy areas like Bowen Island and Parksville and Victoria. There is an art community, like we have mural fests that I like because I'm an artist. I also, like the shopping kind of thing, and family, right? And just all my friends are here, and it's just like, it's so familiar to me, and that's really important. Like my husband is very supportive. I have an illness, so he's kind of has this, I would call it unconditional love. So he's really there for me. So this is really where I belong, I guess. I've been in this house for 26 years. So I'm an artist. So I do, and I'm also, my father's an architect. So I do have started a house portrait series of buildings in my neighborhood. And this behind me is a SkyTrain station that's in I think it's in Sapperton or so. Yeah, so I do paint the landscape in a way. I wanted to share a painting with you. This is one that I did of a house on my street, and it was for sale. And this house was for sale, not the painting, but the house is for sale. I don't know if you can see it. I gotta unfreeze this. Hold on.
Oh,
See
yeah.
it? Yeah. So that's a house on our street. And I wanted to capture the isolation, right? The isolation of living during the pandemic, and the sort of the private and public spaces, and just the familiarity of the neighborhood, capturing those kind of houses that are kind of being phased out with the new modern condominiums and big developments coming in, and big mansion houses. So just trying to share like a little bit of what Vancouver was like growing up for me. Yeah, thanks.
Well, thank you for sharing that. And so interesting. Number one, like you have stayed in the same area and house for over 26 years. And my husband actually grew up and was born here in Vancouver. And I can say that there are very few people, who do stay in the same place. So that's a really blessing, a big blessing too. Me coming from moving a lot, I don't have a lot of friends in my circle that have known me for 26 years or for my whole life. So that's a real benefit. The other thing that was really interesting about the painting you shared is that type of house actually has a name, and it's named from Vancouver. It's called a Vancouver Special. And so amazing that sometimes your neighborhood's architecture actually is a specialty too, as special to your neighborhood. So thanks so much for sharing that.
Yeah, I want to say about my mother. So my mother still lives in the house that I grew up in. She's near the Outer Shaughnessy area. So they bought their house for $27,000 when I was probably maybe 1 or 2 or something, and she's still living in the same house. And now it's worth quite a bit more, but yeah, that was, so their mortgage at that time was a lot, right? But my dad was sort of visionary, so he bought some good property down there. Yeah.
Yeah, so amazing. Yep, there are people who stay in their, their setting their whole life. So that we have to definitely embrace where we live and our life situation. That's for sure.
Change is good too, right? Change can be good.
Yeah, good too. Thanks so much for sharing, Sandra.
Thank you.
So today I'm just reminding everyone that at 45 and Fabulous University has a mastermind series going with Gina Best. When your business is not earning the money you deserve, and you think it's easier to just rebrand or increase your social media posts or start a new project to distract you, there is a better way, and you can take your business to a doctor. This mastermind with Gina Best gives you the tools to look deep and find the answers to why your business is not, you're not able to take it to the next level, and it keeps you focused on steps to change the outcome. The class is limited to 12, and one lucky participant will have her fees totally refunded. It's $100 per month for 10 months, which is a small investment to get the dollars flowing back into your pocket and take your business to the next level. So you can find the information at gina.best or on at45.com website. So if you are a business entrepreneur and you are looking to take your business up, then check it out. So Ronit, welcome, because I guess Vancouver, I thought everybody changed their time, but Vancouver just changed their time
Oh, wow.
last week. So I guess I was the only one on this morning. Oh, we had to get Anne, on. It was a bit of a challenge, but
Did you start an hour earlier?
we started it an hour earlier.
Oh,
yes.
no.
Oh, I know. It's too bad. But Ronit, we talked about the beautiful gift that you have put up for our Easter scavenger hunt. And so, can you just spend a minute and tell us about you and your business, and just share where you live?
Okay, so I live in Zurich, Switzerland, and I'm making my jewelry here, everything in Zurich. Some of them I design and make the sketches, and somebody else does for me, especially the horn, which is handmade horn. Everything is organic for dead animals, so nothing is actually culture. And whenever the animal is dead, they use the remains, like the horns. They don't know what to do with them, and then they decided that they're going to do jewelry. Obviously, it started a long time ago. They started for very simple jewelry. Today, they are more sophisticated. So today, they can take actually designs and make them as you want to do, if you have the right fournisseur, you know. So these are the ones that I do in the Philippines. And the pearls and the semi-precious stones I make here in Zurich. I started more than 10 years ago in Washington, D.C. When I was there. I felt the necessity to have more and more jewelry because of my function. And every day I had to go out and I didn't have enough clothes. And I said, okay, how can I vary and do something which looks a bit different? And I was really surprised because women really look at your neck level, you know. They look at your necklace, they look at your jewelry, and they give you more compliments about these pieces rather than your clothes. And each time I had one piece, I mean, women comment about it and say, oh, where can I get it? And it started actually like this, you know. I stayed very late at night and I started doing all kind of combinations actually I wanted for myself, because I said, okay, what shall I do for this dress and what shall I do for this dress? And I know that whenever you get dressed, you always choose your outfit and then you choose your necklace. But for me, it's the opposite way. I actually know what kind of necklace I want to wear, and then I have my outfit. Then I find my outfit. So I started like that, and it started really late nights, and slowly I had my collection, and I had small gathering of women who wanted really to have these pieces. Because for me, at the beginning, even now, I wanted more and more women to wear my pieces. So the prices were ridiculously low. I had very small margin for my work and for my design and for my ideas and for the colors and everything, because I wanted, you know, to have them affordable. And even today, I mean, I'm a very bad businesswoman, and I have relatively, I mean, for Switzerland, relatively not very expensive. But going back, because you talk about environment, going back to Zurich, you know, the Switzerland is an amazing country. I mean, for the beauty, for the comfort, for the safety. Obviously, we have COVID as everybody else, but because we have so many places to go, and everything is signals, you know, and you have paths, and you can go in the forest, and it's very near to town. So relatively, it was okay. I mean, obviously the shops were closed, but if you like nature, at least you could go out, and the mountains, and you know, and snow and lakes, and everything is really comfortable. And if you have any questions about Switzerland, I would love to hear it.
I just want to say that I have been to Zurich. I've been to Switzerland, to Bern, with a friend of mine who stays on the Interlaken, and oh my gosh, I love your country. It's just beautiful, and my son just spent 3 weeks there. He has a girlfriend who is Swedish, and she lives in Geneva.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Very nice. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So we are coming to the end of our show, and it's been just fabulous to have everyone sharing, and for us to have an opportunity to see places around the world that you know, other people have embraced as their sweet spot in their life. We have a survey that we've posted, and what we want to do is to give a prize to whoever, or to some lucky person who completes the survey. So the survey is going to go out in the email, but Anne, are you able to post it in the chat?
Yeah, it's in the chat. Can you see it there on your
Okay, super, great. No, actually I can't, so that's why I asked, but thank you for posting that. So what can you win? Oh, amazing. So these beautiful fiery crystal earrings and this marvelous lipstick that's called Fire Up from Revlon. So make sure you answer the questions in the survey, and somebody will be picked from the random answers, and we'll contact you. So the other thing I want to remind you about is Instagram. Are you on Instagram? Are you using Instagram? If so, I want you to go to our Facebook page and drop your Instagram channel link into the comment section of one of our things. We'd love to follow you, and also have you follow us. So our Instagram channel is is Fabulous University. That's YOU University, and both on our Facebook and our Instagram. So check us out. So next week, what are we talking about? Well, it's going to be fun. We're talking about personal, your mind, which grows your being. Knowing who you are and embracing it allows you to stand in the light where others will see you. And we're doing a group activity. We're learning how to create your own personal elevator pitch. Now you may say elevator pitch like, I'm not in business, I don't need an elevator pitch. Well, that's what you will want to learn, why the same technique works great for breaking the ice and getting conversations going with people you meet. So make sure and come and join us next week.